I think, actually, Candy, that Democratic candidates will be able to run on Obamacare as an advantage leading into the 2014 election. You're darn right that our candidates are going to run on the advantage that Obamacare will be going into the 2014 election.
Oh, really? DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasimann Schultz is clearly, well, not clued into what's happening to this complete and utter train wreck law that has proven to be. And while she may think the Democratic candidates should go out and run on Obamacare 2014, this Fox News poll might change her mind, because since the launch of the overhaul in October, Republicans have now surged ahead 6 points on the generic ballot and now lead the Democratic candidates 43-40. They were back behind over 9 points right after the government shutdown. We bring back our distinguished studio audience. Raldo Rivera, looking into your crystal ball, as somebody that supports the president, tell me how he recovers when we start getting small businesses. As Billy Cunningham was pointing out earlier, we're going to move to the point where businesses, it becomes 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, then rate shock. How does he recover? I don't see the escape hatch for him.
That's a great question, and here's how he does it. He does it by getting a lyric from an old folk song. The rich shall live and the poor shall die. Is that what we want? Do we want a country where poor people don't have health care?
You live in New Jersey. You live in New Jersey.
Do we really want a health care? Do we want a country where the poor don't have access to the care they need to live as
30 million
long
Americans,
as
the CBO.
I submit to you that
you don't
that's
want to
the way
hear this
he does
part.
it. You asked me. That's how he recovers.
30 million.
By reminding people what progressive hearts.
So you think he ought to go hard left? The CBO says.
No, I think he should go open-hearted and remind people what this is really about.
How much do you pay out of every dollar you make in New Jersey?
You know why? Because instead of a single payer, which he should have tried for, he should have extended Medicare for everybody. Instead of that, he turned it over to the insurance company.
Billy Cunningham.
My friend, Debbie Wasserman Schultz sounds like the RNC chairman in 2006 who told Republicans, run on the Iraqi war. You got to run on the Iraqi war in 06. People love it. This woman's a fool. She's a babbling idiot. Anybody's going to run as a Democrat a year from now on this is like Republicans running in 06. We want more Iraqi war. It'll never happen.
Tamara.
It'll never happen.
They're going to find a way. You keep belaboring a point that this is a train wreck, that there has been a train wreck rollout. That
I asked how he recovers when it's going to get worse and worse.
Let me ask you a question, Sean.
All right, you be the host.
My question is, do you want me to?
Go ahead.
She's got a much better dress.
You've said this many times. Sit next to Sean. My question for you is, do you think it's legal for insurance companies to drop people who have a problem? Who have any kind... My question was for Sean.
That's a separate fix. What you can have is, we can deal with the fact people with pre-existing conditions. We can deal with the fact, these small fixes. You don't have to overhaul the entire system, which was the greatest in the world. If you listen...
Let him talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Should insurance companies be able to drop people
listen to me, what I just said.
Have a junk policy?
Listen to what I just said. No. I'm saying you can fix those things without destroying the best healthcare system in the world. And Sean Hannity
said it.
I have a solution too. My solution is simple. I believe in healthcare savings accounts. Everyone manages their own. Go ahead, yeah.
Status accounts. And you know what I think we've learned from all of this is the only way to have a true market in healthcare, to have real choice, real competition, and to decrease costs is to make sure that people have ownership and control over their healthcare dollars. End of story.
That is where healthcare medical savings. You work for the Fox Business Channel. You study different models and markets. Individual savings accounts creates competition, portability. You keep it state to state, job to job, and catastrophic insurance, which is cheaper on top of it. Good idea?
But I think at this time, when you look at the way health savings accounts are actually characterized, they're for people who already have existing plans, right? So even if you do dish it out in a way that is for everyone, it's very difficult to actually administer that plan without having a strong bone structure behind
I believe in a fix. Tamara does raise a valid point. I don't think people should be able to be kicked off plans just because they get sick. And that has happened.
Fix it, Sean.
But I'm giving you the answer. Health care savings accounts with free market competition. Go ahead.
How do you do it for people who are already in their late 40s or 50s? It doesn't work there because there's not enough time to build up the account. Works for younger people.
What you can't do is you can't force young people that can't buy a house, that are back home with mommy and daddy because they graduated college and they can't even afford to get a house, their own apartment, or a job. You can't force them to pay for older people.
Yeah, government-run health care does not work. We've seen it since this has started. Only 106,000 people have signed up, but 5 million have already been kicked off. And now with him saying that he's going to do the extension until next year, sorry, Mr. President, already 5 million people have been kicked off.
5 million that won't get it back.
Exactly.
The Heritage Foundation did this study, and you did the cost analysis. What is the average American going to pay in terms of increased premiums?
In 42 states, they're going to have huge premium increases, and young adults will definitely be hit the hardest. Some of these increases are over 100%. So, and just, I want to respond to her point earlier. When in the individual market, when someone got sick and got kicked off their plan, yes, that was wrong, but that's the individual market. Just please let me explain. In the group market, that doesn't happen. If you have employer-sponsored insurance and you get cancer, you don't get kicked off. Why? Because there are rules in place that prohibit that. Take the rules that govern the group market and move them over to include the individual market. That's a common sense answer that would have solved this problem without Obamacare.
That's a great idea if you are employed by a corporation, but somebody like myself who's a business owner.
No, because if you haven't keep coverage.
No. If you have a pre-existing condition, there are a lot of insurance companies that will not take you. Do you think that that's legal when everybody has the right to
with the stipulation of if you haven't keep coverage, you can't be kicked off. If you're a free rider who doesn't pay health insurance premiums for 20 years and then you get cancer, should you be allowed to enter the market that you haven't paid into? No, that's not how insurance works.
Hang on.
That's not how an insurance market works.
Answer a question.
Well, I was going to go to your point. I think your proposal to the solution to this problem is a good idea. But the thing that I think is the underlying problem is that people don't know enough about Obamacare. Maybe people don't know about what your solution is.
Everybody knows about Obamacare.
But no, I have clients who say to me, oh, well, I don't have to worry about health insurance because I'll get it.
But you see, her group, Allison's group, actually studied the cost increases, and they are dramatic. And if you look at the different dramatic, in some states it's more than others.
That fully embraced it.
Excuse me, 45 out of the 50. 45 out of 50.
They're doing pretty good in New York, California, and Kentucky.
Comparable premium data. Apples to apples comparison showed that 42 states would have major increases.
We got a break. We got a break. And coming up, where does the fight to kill Obamacare and the train wreck, where does it go from here? That much more as our very distinguished, very quiet, very shy, very demure studio audience continues. Straight ahead.